You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get set again.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. Never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can, we're Americans.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show on K98 Talk. Now, here's Grouchy. The internet will...
Hello?
You're live, partner.
I'm live. Hello. How about that? Things just cut off suddenly and I didn't know where we were. How about that? So I'm live. You know what I need to do? I need to break some glass. It's great to be back with everybody this week. Welcome. Good to have you here. We got a few things to talk about tonight. We're going to go really, really long on. Yeah, I know it's kind of a boring subject, but it's really not boring. We're gonna dive into the Panama Papers. But before we do that, it has been a busy day in the news. Things that you may or may not have heard about. A couple of hours ago in Lauderhill, Florida, police are on scene after a man barricades himself into a home after holding a gun to a baby's head during a robbery. We've got Cypriot authorities agreeing to extradite Egypt Air hijacker already from this past week. Iceland has announced that they're going to hold elections this fall. And let's see, what else is going on here? Oh, yeah. Attorney for former House Speaker Dennis Hastert has asked that he be sentenced to only probation, citing his remorse. Of course, he's sorry he got caught. His prior works and his failing health. We shall see about that. And a man who has helped shape what we all know to be one of the biggest conglomerates on the face of the earth, Andrew McKenna, the chairman of McDonald's, is going to retire after 25 years of leading the company. They announced that today. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have South Carolina introducing a bill mirroring North Carolina's controversial law blocking local governments from passing anti-discrimination ordinances over the use of public bathrooms. Say all that in one breath. That's not easy. And in San Diego today, a young woman's body was found stuffed in a suitcase in downtown San Diego. And we also have a death today in Dade County, Florida. That'd be Miami and its surrounding burb areas, for those not familiar, as a fair worker was killed. Don't know how, don't know why, but, we have that. And we also have the good old American Civil Liberties Union filing a lawsuit in the state of Maryland saying that their practice of sentencing juveniles to life in prison is unconstitutional. And I do not know their full argument behind that. I just gleaned that headline before coming on the air. So, that's something I'm going to look a little more into. I don't recall seeing anything in my numerous readings of the Constitution that would prohibit a teen from being sentenced to life in prison. Just some of the happenings around the country today. Stock market was back up today after being back down yesterday. You know how that goes. That's the new Obama normal. We do have a big bus crash in Maryland to talk about. Something like 45 injured now is the number I'm seeing. Just unreal. And there was a big gas explosion in Maryville, Illinois, back around midday. I mean, it has just been busy all over the country, but nothing, and I do mean nothing, is going to compare to, really just flat out, these Panama Papers. We're gonna talk about it. We got a story to hit first. This I saw last night, and it absolutely just bothers me to no end that this is going on in this country with all of the love and support that we can give our military members, especially our veterans who have already done their duty and then some and come home. And you don't want to call them broken, but they are damaged. And we have a U.S. Army veteran who has flown a half a dozen times at least with her service dog, her therapy dog, her service dog. And she's never had a problem until her last flight from Denver to Houston, when she and her dog, a pit bull lab mix, was booted from a Spirit Airlines flight. Now, Janae Fowler, this Army veteran, she said she goes everywhere with her emotional support dog, Ziggy Marley. And, she suffers from PTSD. And she says the dog relaxes me and calms her down, makes me smile, makes me feel like everything's going to be okay. But last week, Fowler and her boyfriend went to Colorado to visit some of their Army friends. They took a flight out to Denver from Houston on Spirit Airlines, which there was no problem with. Everything was good. But when Fowler tried to board the return flight, a flight attendant told her, and this is the quote, "Oh, hell no." And Fowler said, "What's wrong?" And the flight attendant asked if her dog was a pit bull. And Fowler confirmed that Ziggy was a mix of pit bull and chocolate lab, and the flight attendant asked to see the paperwork, decreeing her a service dog. So now Spirit Airlines is saying that emotional support animals are not service animals, and a service animal is for somebody with a, quote, real disability. So Spirit Airlines, who, if you have read anything about them in the past, they are a problem-riddled airline. These are the people that charge $25 to put a bag in the overhead bin in their planes. These are the people that are wanting to change their ticket prices to be by weight instead of by seat. So if you weigh more, you pay more, basically is what they want to get to. A spokesman for Spirit says they're looking into the allegations, but in general, the flight attendant cannot make a decision to kick somebody off a plane. The captain would make the final decision, and there would need to be a good reason, like a dog barking or growling. He said there is a lot more work for a flight attendant or gate agent if they need to remove a passenger from a flight, so they usually do what they can to make it work. This is, according to Spirit's spokesperson. And of course, would you expect them to say anything else after spitting in the face of a veteran, basically, telling her that PTSD is not a real disability? This is just flat out disgraceful and disgusting. And quite frankly, Spirit Airlines, I've never flown you. I've talked to people that have, and I've heard a lot of horror stories, but I don't even have to reference them. This is enough to make me just bludgeon you over and over on social media. I have absolutely no qualms with doing this. You owe this veteran, not me, you owe this veteran, what was her name? Let me look it back up. Janae Fowler and her boyfriend and her service dog a huge apology. You owe them remittance of some kind. They should get free flights on your airline for a while, I would think. People, in this day and age, when we know so much about PTSD, now granted, we have a lot to learn about how to solve PTSD, but we're learning what it is. We're learning how it affects people and what happens when it's ignored or, somebody pretends that it doesn't exist. The reaction of the person with PTSD can be anything from nonchalant to completely other end of the spectrum. It could be convulsive. It could even turn violent at times, not intentionally, but it can turn that way. People, this is real. PTSD is real. It exists, and there are way too many veterans suffering from it to have this airline declare that it's not a real problem. And when the hell did they get their medical license to make this determination? You don't have to agree. You can think that PTSD is fake if you want to. But if you're that person, I encourage you to get in touch with me on Twitter so that I can connect you with the right people in your area to help you learn a little bit more about PTSD and what it really is and how it affects people. Folks, it's real. It's damn real. All right. That's enough of bashing on Spirit Airlines. They suck. But anyway, we are about to get into, and I know that I asked Mr. Producer to have some special audio ready for me for this, but we are getting ready to get into the Panama Papers. That's right, the Panama Papers. Now, first of all, let's start with the basics, okay? Why are they called the Panama Papers? Well, there are more than 11 million documents in this data dump, we'll call it. They date back 4 decades and are connected to the Panamanian law firm of Mossack Fonseca. There are reports that the firm helped establish secret shell companies and offshore accounts for global power players. Reports of a 2015 audit found that Mossack Fonseca knew the identities of the real owners of just 204 of the 14,086 companies it incorporated in Seychelles, an Indian Ocean island often described as a tax haven. Now, the ICIJ, the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, published this massive leak of documents dubbed the Panama Papers. Now, some of the things you need to know about this is that, the ICIJ and an international coalition of media outlets investigated the trove of papers, which allegedly reveal a clandestine network involving associates of Russian President Vladimir Putin and business ties between a member of FIFA's ethics committee and men whom the United States has indicted for corruption. Now, that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is huge, folks. Okay, how huge is it? Well, let's just say, let's go back to the WikiLeaks dump. Remember Snowden? Yeah, the WikiLeaks. Okay, that was 60 gigabytes of data. Okay, that's a pretty good chunk of data. Okay, especially when you're just talking text files. This is 2.6 terabytes. For those of you unfamiliar with the terabyte realm, a terabyte is 1,024 gigabytes. These are millions and millions and millions of documents. And they're not just, it's not broken down in code or anything like that. It's just, boom, there's all the data. And you're left to sort through it as you would. Okay, so, this story broke just literally a few days ago. There's no way that nobody has combed through 2.6 terabytes of text files that quickly. Okay, but there are some things we do know. Okay, there are some big names involved in this, globally speaking. We're going to touch bases on a couple of those, and we're also going to examine how Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are tied to the Panama Papers. So, batten down the hatches. We're going to roll through this. I'm not saying that this is incriminating evidence of anything, but there's certainly certainly some, I guess you would say, questions to be answered about why somebody would need to use a shell company to mask the origin of financial transactions and ownership. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that a law has been broken, but why play the game of charades otherwise? I'm just saying, there could be a legit reason. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, so who's implicated in these documents? Well, as of tonight's program, the documents reference 12 current or former world leaders, as well as 128 other politicians and public officials. In addition to allegations involving associates of Russian leader Vladimir Putin, he himself is not mentioned in any of the documents. And we have the Prime Minister of Iceland, Sigmundur Gunnlaugsson, of having ties through his wife to an offshore company that were not properly disclosed. We have Argentina's president, who just had a very lovely visit from Barack Obama. Mauricio Macri is alleged to have failed to disclose links to a company in his asset declarations. And, you know, the list goes on and on and on. Gunnlaugsson was said to have resigned, but now I'm hearing today that he is actually not resigning, but his next in command in his administration is going to take over the day-to-day running of the country. They haven't determined how long that's going to be. They are calling for elections in the fall to replace him. So it could be that that goes on to the elections, but it may be that he comes back from this. That is unclear at this time out of Iceland. So, you know, and not that Iceland is a hotbed of politics, but, you know, when politics makes the bed get hot, that's what the media reports. So anyway, what do we have? Reactions from the accused. The Kremlin has dismissed these allegations as, quote, a series of fibs aimed at discrediting Putin ahead of upcoming elections. Ooh. FIFA, the international soccer governing body, called them ridiculous. A statement from the Icelandic Prime Minister's office said the offshore firm he's linked to was a holding company for his wife's assets, and that he enjoyed no tax advantages and was created to avoid conflicts of interest in Iceland. And a spokesperson for Argentina's Macri said the president had never owned a stake in the firm he was linked to. However, Britain, France, Australia, and Mexico have vowed investigations for possible tax evasion. Now, all this going on, and what we need to know is, what's the law firm where all this data came from saying? So what are they saying? Well, on Monday, they released a statement that said our industry is not particularly well understood by the public. And unfortunately, this series of articles will only serve to deepen that confusion. The facts are these. While we may have been the victim of a data breach, nothing we've seen in this illegally obtained cache of documents suggests we've done anything illegal. And that's very much in keeping with the global reputation we've built over the last 40 years of doing business the right way here in Panama. Obviously, no one likes to have their property stolen, and we intend to do whatever we can to ensure the guilty parties are brought to justice. In the meantime, our plan is to continue to serve our clients, stand behind our people, and support the local communities in which we have the privilege to work all over the world, just as we've done for 4 decades. Now, the firm co-founder, Ramon Fonseca Mora, told CNN that the information published is false and full of inaccuracies, and that parties in many of the circumstances cited by the ICIJ are not and have never been clients of Mossack Fonseca. Now the firm is providing longer statements to ICIJ. But anyway, that's the reaction in a nutshell. So how did this consortium of journalists get these documents? Well, a quote-unquote anonymous source, which I love that, gave the documents to Germany's Süddeutsche Zeitung, and the newspaper shared them with the International Consortium, or what is it, the ICIJ, Consortium of Journalists. That's I'm just going to call them that. It's easier. Who cares, right? We know who they are. Other media organizations that reported on the documents include the BBC, The Guardian, and McClatchy. You just now have the U.S. really getting into it. They were actually lagging a little behind the rest of the world on this. Shocking, I know, because our mainstream media is such crack reporters. Garbage. But you have outlets such as now CNN saying they are unable to independently verify the reports and is seeking comment from the most prominent figures mentioned. And it will take time as they are spread across Europe, Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and the Americas. So anyway, you got this unprecedented leak of 11.5 million files from the database of the world's fourth biggest offshore law firm. What do they actually reveal? Well, they show the myriad ways in which the rich can exploit secretive offshore tax regimes, basically to hide or launder their money. There is a $2 billion trail that, through several people, lead to Vladimir Putin. You have the Russian president's best friend, a cellist named Sergei Rodigin, is at the center of a scheme in which money from Russian state banks is hidden offshore. Somehow it ends up in a ski resort where in 2013 Putin's daughter Katerina got married. Interesting. Some of the others with offshore accounts that would be considered wealthy would be Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, ex-interim Prime Minister and former Vice President of Iraq, Ayad Alawi, the President of the Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, and the son of Egypt's former president, Mubarak, Allah Mubarak, is also on this list. So we have a lot of Egyptian funds being funneled out under the Mubarak regime. An offshore investment fund run by the father of British Prime Minister David Cameron avoided ever having to pay tax in Britain by hiring a small army of Bahamas residents to sign its paperwork. The fund has been registered with HM Revenue and Customs since its inception and has filed detailed tax returns every year. And there are links to these overviews and revelations out there, but wow. It's unreal. It really is. I mean, how all these globalists talking about income inequality and how everybody needs to give something up to make everything better for everybody else. And these sorry SOBs are shielding their money offshore while they're telling us to give ours up. They're telling us to give up our hundreds and our thousands while they're hiding millions and billions. Okay, so you see the hypocrisy here. We've got a whole lot more to do with Panama and the Panama Papers. It is the bottom of the hour, so we do have to take a break. Sit tight. We're coming back. We're digging deeper. We're going to bring Hillary and Barack into this and see how they tie into it all. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rail. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve, as they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So we're digging into the Panama Papers, what it all means, who it all implicates, what they've done, what they haven't done. Who knows yet? I mean, really, 2.6 terabytes of data to pour through. The WikiLeaks was 60 gig, and it took months to go through all that. So can you imagine how long this is going to take? Let's see, that's going to be 5, 4. It's going to be more than 4 times the data of the Snowden WikiLeaks, data dump, for lack of a better term. So anyway, all these people using these offshore structures, are they all crooks? Well, no. Okay. Using offshore financial structures is entirely legal. And there are some legitimate reasons for doing it. You got business people in countries like Russia and Ukraine, and even some Eastern European bloc, the old Euro-Eastern bloc countries. They put their assets offshore to defend them from raids by criminals on their banks, to get around hard currency restrictions. And others use offshore for reasons of inheritance and estate planning. So it's not, it doesn't, just because you have an offshore account doesn't mean you're breaking the law. But are some people who use offshore structures crooks? You bet your butt they are. Okay, so we got David Cameron last year. We all know David Cameron. He's over there in the UK. In a speech last year, he said, quote, "The corrupt, criminals, and money launderers take advantage of anonymous company structures. The government is trying to do something about this. It wants to set up a central register that will reveal the beneficial owners of offshore companies. From June, UK companies will have to reveal their significant owners for the first time." Now, Cameron says that where his name was implicated in this data dump, it was his wife's holdings that were offshore and that he received no tax benefit. Investigation underway, jury still out, however you want to classify it. Could David Cameron be telling the truth? He certainly could. Will it be able to be proven one way or the other? I really don't know. I would love to pour through these documents. It would take me a lifetime. It's not like the old conservative Facebook pages where there's 6 or 8, moderators and content providers and things like that, running a page. My old Facebook page was just me. Others were much bigger. They had staff, they had other people, they had this, they had that. Same with my Twitter. My Twitter is just me. I don't have a Twitter team or anything like that. When I research for a show, it is me. I do not have a research team. So it would take me probably...
You forgot about the midgets in the basement.
Well, I'm not counting the people under the stairs. Midgets in the basement. That would be like the angry dwarf Hank. Yeah, he's down there. He's always in the basement. Throw him a pork chop once a week just to keep him happy.
I thought you put that around his neck so the dog would play with him.
Yeah, well, that too. Had to feed him with a slingshot too. Just too ugly. Too ugly. But anyway, the law firm of Mossack Fonseca won't discuss any specific cases of alleged wrongdoing in this data dump, citing client confidentiality, but they are robustly defending their conduct, not their clients, and saying that it complies with anti-money laundering laws and carries out thorough diligence on all its clients, and it regrets any misuse of its services and tries actively to prevent it. The firm says it cannot be blamed for failings by intermediaries who include banks, law firms, and accountants. So anyway, let's get into the juicy stuff here, where it starts to get juicy. We don't know how juicy this is going to get yet, but this, man, if this thing had exploded a month ago and people had been drilling through this, wow. Just think about the implications as I go through this here. Okay, so years before, more than 100 media outlets around the world released stories Sunday exposing a massive network of global tax evasion detailed in the so-called Panama Papers. United States President Barack Obama and then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton pushed for a Bush administration negotiated free trade agreement that watchdogs warned would not or would only make our situation in the U.S. worse. Soon after taking office in 2009, Obama and his Secretary of State, who is currently the Democratic presidential frontrunner, began pushing for the package called FTAs, Free Trade Agreements, with Panama, Colombia, and South Korea, that opponents said would make it more difficult to crack down on Panama's very low income tax rate, banking secrecy laws, and history of non-cooperation with foreign partners. Even while Obama championed his commitment to raise taxes on the wealthy, he pursued and eventually signed the Panama Agreement in 2011. Upon Congress ratifying the act, Clinton issued a statement lauding the agreement, saying it and other deals with Colombia and South Korea will make it easier for American companies to sell their products. Now, she added, the Obama administration is constantly working to deepen our economic engagement throughout the world, and these agreements are an example of that commitment. Now, hold that thought, because we're going to come back to that statement. Okay? Critics, however, have said that the pact would make it easier for rich Americans and corporations to set up offshore corporations and bank accounts and avoid paying many taxes altogether. A tax haven has one of three characteristics. It has no income tax or a very low rate of income tax. It has bank secrecy laws, and it has a history of non-cooperation with other countries on exchanging information about tax matters. Okay, that's just, boom. Panama has all three of those and may be the worst offenders in the world. Okay, so the Panama Free Trade Agreement pushed for by Obama and Clinton effectively barred the United States from cracking down on questionable activities instead of requiring concessions of the Panamanian government on banking rules and regulations. Combating tax haven abuse in Panama could violate the agreement. Should the U.S. embark on such an endeavor, it could be exposed to fines from international authorities. Way to handcuff us, jackwagons. The FTA would undermine existing U.S. policy tools against tax haven activity, warned consumer watchdog group Public Citizen, saying the agreement would encourage corporations to thwart any U.S. efforts to combat financial secrecy. The group also noted that U.S. government contractors, as well as major financial firms supported by taxpayer bailouts, stood to gain from the trade deal's provisions that could make it harder to crack down on financial secrecy. Are you getting this? You're seeing how this agreement is actually bad for America? Okay, now let's back up. Let's go back up to Hillary's statements. Let me peel my notes back here. Okay, because they referenced Panama and Colombia specifically, and Colombia was of a very, very special interest to Hillary Clinton. You see, Panama, while having made some considerable contributions to the Clinton Family Foundation, doesn't hold a candle to what's been funneled through their foundation by Mr. Frank Giestra, who is a Canadian businessman who owns a Colombian corporation called Pacific Rubiales. who has donated over $24 million to the Clinton Family Foundation, has provided Bill Clinton with free travels upon Gistra's private jet, who businessmen from around the world are known to have gone on and partied with underage girls who Gistra regularly hires to man the planes and service the clients. Folks, this isn't a secret. This is out there. Do the research. The company is called Pacific Rubialis. The man's name is Frank Gistra, Guistra. Slime. Okay? Basically, he's basically pimping out underage girls to businessmen, the rich and powerful from around the world. Bill Clinton has been on this man's private jet, known to sport these pimped out minor girls several times. And he has donated millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to the Clinton Family Foundation. And in turn, Hillary, as Secretary of State, passed favorable policies that would allow Gistra to be awarded a U.S. port on the coast of Colombia. To make his shipping operations easier for him. You don't have to take my word for it. It's all out there. All you got to do is look. Okay? You getting what I'm doing here? Okay, this all ties back to the Obama administration. This all ties back to Hillary abusing her position as Secretary of State to either trade favors for money or money for favors. Depends on how you look at it. Gistra has given money to employees at other companies in which he is a major stakeholder in throughout North America. And that money was directed to be donated to Hillary Clinton's foundation. Folks, this is illegal. These are the people who were actually the employees that were given the money that are saying this. Okay? These employees are speaking out against it. There's a lot of things that need to come to light. And look, Bernie Sanders is failing miserably at one thing. When Bernie first declared that he was going to run for the presidency, he said that he had been in D.C. for 30 years and he knew all of the Clintons' dirty little secrets and that he was going to use them to beat her. Well, Bernie, you're not doing that. You're soft-stepping around all the hard issues that could really bring Hillary down. Folks, if Pacific Rubialis and Uranium One, the Russian deal that gave them control of the uranium, for next to nothing for us, but for her foundation, a huge donation of millions upon millions of dollars, I really just don't know what else to do. You got, oh man, despite warnings from the watchdog group, we talked about Public Citizen just a few minutes ago. Despite warnings from them, some Democratic lawmakers urged the Obama administration to aggressively push for the Panama Agreement. And according to a 2009 email sent to Clinton on her private mail server by her top State Department aide, high-ranking then Senator Max Baucus. Max has left the Senate now. He was a Democrat from Montana. He was pushing for the passage of the Panama and Colombia Free Trade Pacts. And Representative Charlie Rangel, Democrat from New York, said the president had to lend his star power to pushing them through. Now, Obama did do that eventually. Max Baucus, you were actually actively working against the North American oil boom that's in your part of the country, sir. These agreements have hurt the people in your state and neighboring states. Shame on you. Shame on you and Hillary Clinton. But Obama did put his star power behind these acts, and he hosted Panama's president at a 2011 Oval Office event touting the trade pact. Now, there were other lobbies made for this huge deal. Among them would be Rupert Murdoch's News Corp, which at the time maintained 136 Panamanian subsidiary companies.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
He's so right. That is not how this is supposed to work. Okay, so you got Rupert, who, if you don't know Rupert Murdoch, if you're not familiar with News Corporation, that is the parent company of Fox News. So you've got the owner of Fox News, who is accused of being what? Right-wing, they hate Obama, blah, blah, blah. Rupert is lobbying for this. Okay? He's on Obama's side on this. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Unless we're just talking about corporate bottom lines and it's just a dollar and cents thing with 136 Panamanian subsidiary companies, I can see why he might be thinking that way. The almighty dollar rules over politics and standards and morals and ethics and things like that just get in the way of what's really important, which is the money, right? I mean,
shit, Negro, that's all you had to say.
That's right.
Sorry,
anyway,
it's fate. I rolled with it.
Obama and Clinton's support of the free trade agreements, however, was not universally shared within the Democratic Party. Obama did receive criticism from some lawmakers, including then Republican Mike Michaud of Maine, who wrote an op-ed in The Hill 2 months after the new president was sworn in 2009. And here's just an excerpt from Michaud's op-ed. Talk about a double whammy. Another job-killing Bush trade agreement, and with the country that a Government Accountability Office study identified as one of only 8 countries and the only current or prospective free trade agreement partner that was listed on all of the major U.S. and international tax haven watchdog lists. He noted that Obama had promised as a candidate that he would renegotiate the trade agreements. Panama's unwillingness to sign a tax information treaty with the U.S. is just the tip of the iceberg, he said. Before the agreement was ratified, the Obama administration did forge a tax information sharing agreement with the Panamanian government that said it would increase financial transparency. However, that transparency came on our end, not Panama's end. Whoops! Do you think that Barack maybe misunderstood what Michaud wanted? I don't think so. I think this was done on purpose. But Public Citizen says that this separate agreement doesn't remedy any of the problems noted, especially where secrecy is, and noting that it merely requires Panama to stop refusing to provide information to U.S. officials on specific cases if U.S. officials know to inquire. Interesting. So if we know that we're going to inquire, all they have to do is say, no, we're not giving you that anymore. So what I'm getting at here is I guess they allow for a fishing expedition, but they don't allow for a specific speared inquiry, which sounds kind of backwards to me. But hey, you know, what do I know? I'm certainly not an expert on this. I simply bring you the information. So the Sunday reports on these Panama Papers exposed 40 years worth of information that included more than 11 million documents with 210,000 companies, trusts, foundations, world leaders, offshore dealings in Panama where money laundering, tax avoidance, crime, funding terrorism, it's all made. The leak came from financial services firm Mossack Fonseca. Shows that the organization helped clients perform all of those acts. The leaks have revealed a suspected billion-dollar money laundering ring that includes many close allies and associates to Vladimir Putin. Icelandic Prime Minister Sigmundur Gunnlaugsson has been hiding interest linked to his wife's wealth. David Cameron the same. A total of 12 are current former heads of state, and 60 people linked to current or former leaders have been revealed to have had secret dealings in Panama. Now we get billionaire and Russia-controlled bank named in the Panama Papers have links to Hillary Clinton through two separate lobbying efforts, one through a Clinton-connected lobbying firm and another through Sidney Blumenthal. Clinton is linked to Sberbank, Russia's largest bank, through the Podesta Group. Yes, as in John Podesta. It's a lobbying firm. The Podesta Group is a lobbying firm co-founded by Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, and his brother, Tony Podesta, who is a major bundler for the Clintons. According to the Free Beacon, which first reported the connections, Sberbank registered with the Podesta Group last month to lobby on issues related to economic sanctions against Russia and on the stock and bond trading for U.S. clients. Bidzina Ivanishvili, a Georgian billionaire, try to say that 3 times fast. I got lucky with that. A Georgian billionaire, not as in the U.S. Georgia, as in the country Georgia, and former prime minister of the Caucasus state, is also named in the Panama Papers, which is believed to be the largest leak of financial documents in history. Of course it is. Clinton, Ivanishvili appeared in the Hillary Clinton email dump through her longtime friend Sidney Blumenthal. Blumenthal played middleman for Clinton, passed along a memo from Ivanishvili ahead of the 2012 Georgian elections. Ivanishvili was head of Georgian Dream Party, which successfully ousted then Georgian President Clinton is not implicated per se in the Panama Papers, which pertain to offshore bank accounts, mainly because she keeps enough of the money that gets donated to her foundation that she doesn't need an offshore account. She spends it faster than they could probably move it anyway. But anyway, you get the whole idea, okay? I mean, we didn't make it through everything, and that's okay. There is tons upon tons of information out there on this. Please do your homework. Go through, learn how Hillary's connected to the people that are implicated in this Panama Papers. Learn what it means. Learn why it's important. Do your own homework. Don't just take my word for it. I promise you, I bring you what I find, and I present it to you. It's up to you what you do with it. I want to thank everybody for being here. Come back in 2 hours for Rowdy Rick Robinson with America Off the Rails. And don't forget, tomorrow night, we've got what? We've got JD and Stacy with Game On. And we've got tomorrow night's also Doc A and Lou, correct? Is that right?
That is correct.
That is correct. Hot dog, I did it right. And don't forget my friends Angie and Clay on Monday with Real Serious Nonsense. Rowdy Rick is every night, every single night, Monday through Friday. And you can catch him on weekends too. I think he still does some stuff on weekends. You guys just really got to go to K98.org. Check the schedule. It's busy. It's ever changing. But man, I'm telling you, Rowdy Rick, the hardest working man in show business, and you don't even know who he really is. But that's okay. Just tune into his show. He'll reveal everything. I want to thank everybody for being here. As always, if you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you probably need new friends, but they and you are always welcome with me right here on the Conservative Curmudgeon Show. We'll see you next Wednesday. God bless.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.